back here in the JConcepts garage for another edition here of the vlog that we've been doing on a semi-continued basis. We're here with Fred Reep. Fred's been out on a world's tour for the monster truck racing in the last few months, and Fred, I don't know that we've ever been to this many monster truck events before in a year. Talk to us about kind of getting this tour started off here.
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back weekends, there was some RC Monster Truck Worlds events, so we're kind of calling this a little Worlds tour that I did. We kind of racked up some mileage on this trip, 4,800 miles on the JConcepts van going to these things, and it was really good. Our first stop was up at the Radio-Controlled Monster Truck Challenge World Finals. That was at the Barnstormers Raceway in Chester, New York. That was a 1,200-mile trip. We made it up there. Dan and Kyle DeFalco doing an awesome job setting it out on outdoors on dirt. You know, a lot of these guys here are running on carpet, so it was kind of a nice mix-up for them.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously made the trip there and set up, and I know we were getting some photos back and forth. They set up like you mentioned, a nice dirt track, which you don't see all the time, which is kind of nice to race outside and get an idea. Obviously, we just released these two new tires, the Renegades and the Firestorms, and we had a few guys using them there. That was obviously the first event on this little mini tour. But what did you see out of the tires, and who did we have driving out there?
Yeah, the tires really worked well. I mean, it was highly anticipated. These guys, they've been wanting these tires. We get emails every day. When are the tires coming out? When are they coming out? So we were able to make it happen for these next couple events there, and yeah, they worked well. The blue tires of choice, Renegades for the dirt, of course. The softer compound worked really well. More of a topsoil track, with a little cobblestone mixed into it.
We started with 43, the largest the World Finals at the barn has ever had. We're down to 2. We have reached the championship race of the 2016 RC Monster Truck Challenge World Finals. Brought to you by JConcepts, Crawford Performance Engineering, Cow RC, and Screw Loose Hardware. In the orange lane, out of Maryland, it's Team Juice Snapple, driven by Chad Buckland. In the yellow lane, out of New York, it's Kyle DeFalco and Snakebite. Trucks are on the line, ready to rock and roll. Reds are on. Here comes green. This is for the championship. Both trucks nice and easy to the final corners here. Over the crossover jump, door to door. Comes to the final turn. Your 2016 champ is Chad Buckland in Snapple. He's won Digger's Dungeon, Quadapalooza, NRCTBA, and for the first time he takes home the World Finals Racing Championship here at the barn. Congratulations to Chad, Team Juice, and the Cube Chassis. Team Juice Snapple gets the win over Snakebite.
Really went well. One of our drivers, Chad Buckland, he took the win up there. Took their 2016 World Championship with his Cube Clodbuster. Yeah. And then we had Kyle DeFalco, one of the DeFalco brothers that actually held the event. He took the second place with his Snakebite truck. And Kyle also did freestyle, and he took the freestyle win as well.
So with this Cube chassis, this is basically a Clodbuster based front and rear axle, but this is a special chassis created by Morris here, and that's used by Chad, that's using these Clodbuster components.
Yeah, Chad's been in development with Morris there, developing this thing, and it's a real proven racing chassis. He's done quite well with it.
So this particular Monster Truck Challenge started in 2009. What was the truck count there, and what did you see in terms of the popularity and people in the attendance there?
Yeah, they had 43 trucks, and that was their largest attendance to date. Again, they started in 2009, kind of took over the reins of the RC MTRA that used to do this event from the early 90s up into the 2000s. So yeah, they're building up the program. It's getting more and more popular. Again, the Clodbuster, the truck of choice, basically. And then you're going to see the shafty trucks now, what they're calling. You know, with the new axial is going to be, you know, another new class is going to help, you know, bring this caliber of racing up.
Yeah, so I mean, pretty much what we have here is we have the old standby Clodbuster stuff, which has been out there forever.
Yeah.
Guys have made, you know, many generations of chassis for the base Clodbuster, but then, you know, we're kind of starting to see these shafty trucks, as they call them, which has been axial based, axles and transmission, and similar to the truck that we have here, the Overkill, Extreme Overkill truck, the Trevor Adamo Warpath chassis truck here. This is basically an axial based shafty truck. And then, you know, coming down the line in the production type, we got the new axial Gravedigger and the Max D.
Yeah, the Gravedigger and the Max D is what everybody's looking for now.
Yeah, so we got those two new trucks coming out, which is, you know, kind of building this whole thing up a little bit.
Yeah.
We've always had a great, you know, base and a great niche here in the monster truck community, but now when we add an axial with their two new vehicles, obviously the Monster Jam connection, you know, do you see that kind of, you know, helping out in terms of the participation?
Yeah, it definitely helps out. I mean, you know, the power of Monster Jam and, you know, the world that they've created in monster trucks, it's just brings it to the whole new level. You know, once you put Max D and Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger to anything, their name on it, you know, it's going to definitely help the industry.
So we had the tent set up there. Obviously, you drove the van in, like you said, 1,200-mile run for you to get there, and then we set up the van, we set up the tents, and we had our product out there on hand. We had our, you know, we got this growing number of trucks here that we have that seem to, you know, we add one or two each event we go to, and
multiplying by the minute.
Yeah, these things are like the gremlins, right? So you know, from there we kind of moved on. You had a second stop. You made another trip, about 700 miles. You mentioned here into Ohio. And did the NRC TPA, which, I mean, ever since I was a kid looking through Car Action magazine, I would see these, you know, this world finals, world championships, NRC TPA, and it's like I always wanted to race in that because, you know, I thought my backyard, you know, I was running my Claude, and I was like, I want to go to this thing. Yeah. But so you got to go and tell us about this event.
Yeah, it was my first time there, and it was an honor to, you know, be a part of it. It's their 28th annual event. I mean, they've been putting this thing on 28 years. It's amazing. Montpelier, Ohio, a 700-mile run from New York. You know, amazing. 556 entries at this event, and over 400 pull trucks.
Yeah.
And that's a lot to be said. I mean, that's, you know, again, an organization that's withstood the test of time. You know, Joe Killian, the president, he's been there ever since day one, and it's an amazing thing that they've created.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a passion for this if you're going to stick around, you know, 28 years and do this type of thing. I mean, we've been doing several off-road events, you know, that are into their 20s. I know the Cactus Classic is one of them that's into the 20s, but it's not very common that you have these type of things out there that are, you know, pushing 30 years.
Right.
And like you said, 400 pullers, which if you've never seen these puller vehicles, I mean, this is like a whole nother, you know, we got the monster trucks covered here, but the pulling vehicles is like a whole nother beast and a whole nother level hobbyist, really. So, you know, we had obviously there was a monster truck event at this NRC TPA Worlds along with the pullers, but in the monster truck racing, again, we had, you know, a few more of our drivers kind of join the fray there. guys that weren't up in New York. We had a couple more guys run this event in Ohio. We had a off-road racer who's monster truck enthusiast. Matt Stoltz was out there.
Yeah, Matt was out there. Did a great
obviously
job.
we had Russ Bryant races for us on off-road and in the monster truck category. To go along with the other guys and tell us how you saw things kind of going down there and in the racing and how things ended up.
Yeah, day one for the monster trucks, they kind of did a timed course. They had 2 courses set up in one atrium. The second atrium, they had 2 pulling tracks going. So both events were going on at the same time. When you have that many events going on, you got to have things going on at the same time.
Yeah.
It's the only way that you can get the entries down. So again, day one, they did the time course. Chad Buckland, again, dominating basically, doing a real good job driving that cube truck. Our tires on there, the Renegades again, and gold compound, was the winning combination for him. Matt Stoltz doing another awesome job. He's coming up in second in the modified monster truck class. And that class had over 54 trucks just in one class.
Yeah.
And out of the 54 trucks, a JConcepts drivers went, placed in the top 6.
Yeah.
So it was a nice solid win for us.
Yeah, I mean, showing the the versatility, I guess, of the 2 new tires we have. We released the 2 compounds. We had the blue compound, which we used over on the dirt, and then the gold, which we were using indoors on the carpet.
Right. Yeah, it's critical that now that we're able to do and change the compounds, that you make them work to your advantage.
And of course, Chad's kind of the he's the constant here. It seems like he's laying down really good, consistent runs at all these events, and the consistent speed is paying off for him.
Right.
Obviously, the cube chassis. He's been running for a little while. That's working pretty well also.
Yeah, the chassis is working really well. The tire wheel combo is working great. Again, real smooth driver. Has the off-road background, so that kind of helps with his patience and timing. Timing out the jumps and making a good, solid, consistent passes. It's important. And then we made our way out another 880 miles back on the van, and then made a little pit stop. We stopped by the Bigfoot shop on the way to Indiana.
So when you stopped there in Pacific, Missouri, of course the Bigfoot shop used to be there in St. Louis, right on the corner of the intersections there.
Right in Hazelwood.
In Hazelwood. Now they're over in Pacific. Kind of have almost, I'd say, more open space in a sense. There in Hazelwood, they had a lot of building, a lot of road front, I guess you could say. But now they have like a lot of field area. They've been doing some open house events there. They've been doing some testing, some driving, some a lot of things where they can actually drive the trucks next to the shop.
Yeah, more of an industrial type area, and gives them a little more room to breathe and have more things out in their yard, and they're able to move some stuff around out there.
So we stopped there. You pulled up next to Bigfoot 5. Which I don't know, we did some photos on Instagram and Facebook of you stopping there and parking the van next to Bigfoot 5. What's that truck like, and what was it like to pull the van up to that thing?
Yeah, it's kind of intimidating. I mean, you see the 10-foot tall tires, and then again, you see it on TV. It just doesn't do it justice, or any photos. You pull your van or car up to that thing, and it's just like, wow, this thing is big.
Yeah.
And then just the massive tires. We took some pictures of it. It's an amazing piece of equipment.
Moving into why we were traveling back that direction. Obviously, we mentioned we went through Pacific, but then you got back into the Monster Truck Hall of Fame in Auburn, Indiana.
Yeah, Auburn, Indiana. Established in 2010 by Jeff Cook and crew. These. I'm not going to say the old timers of the sport wanting to get together, and it's really a great thing that they've developed. Recognizing that the past of monster trucks, making sure it's cemented in its place in history. This was the 6th annual one, and then it was just an honor to be there. We got the JConcepts van and set up for a full display, and it was a good, fun event.
So each year at this Hall of Fame, they're inducting just like any other Hall of Fame. People that were famous from the past. I believe they've used brought 5 people in before. This particular year is for people making it into the Hall of Fame. I've been there twice, and you've been there now 3 times, I believe.
3 times, right?
And so tell us about some of the guys going into the Hall of Fame while you were there.
First one was Bob George. He's kind of the innovator or the creator of USHRA, United States Hot Rod Association. And, he was in there. Again, he's passed on, but, they wanted to recognize him for his creation. Jerry Richmond, he created the Terminator Bronco. It was a 79 Bronco monster truck. He also drove the Lethal Weapon truck, Weapon 1, and he was co-creator with Overkill with Marty Garza.
Okay. So he was, it sounds like he was fairly recognized in those 80s and 90s time period of, driving the stage 1, 2, and 3 trucks, really.
Right, yeah. He's, been through the process, getting with Marty, developing the Extreme Overkill monster truck that Kirk Dabney later got to drive.
Which is like our truck up
here.
here.
Our one up here. The one Jerry had driven would have been this pink Overkill logoed body.
So, and, with these guys, kind of going back to the Lethal Weapon, kind of jumping back, that was a truck that Matt Stoltz, he brought as a retro, right? Kind of jumping around a little bit, but that was his retro, right?
Yeah.
So Jerry Richmond originally created that Lethal Weapon, and then Matt kind of borrowing that, that image.
Yeah, Matt kind of likes to make a body of one of the inductees.
Moving on, we had Terry Woodcock here, who is obviously a guy that, he seems like he moved around a little bit and kind of had some different ideas.
Yeah, he had plenty of ideas. He's part of Freedom Racing as his team. He has the Cyclops monster truck. He developed, he had that machine. That was reinvented the name and come out and kind of freshened it up on a newer truck. But back in the day, he would change around and bounce around names. He'd come out with a truck, and depending on his applause, maybe if he got a good reaction, he'd maybe go back and change the name of truck and try and get a different look and try and always keep it neat and keep it fresh for the crowd. He's more into the entertainment factor for the fans. Wanted to get big air. Do some nice wheelies and get a lot of fan response.
And obviously here we talked about he was part of there was a time period where wrestling kind of got involved with monster trucks, and the WWF, he had some trucks for that. Yeah,
then it was called the WWF, but he did run a few trucks like that, the Heartbreak Kid, Stone Cold, and all those machines. Again, the attraction of the wrestling and the monster trucks back in the early 90s was a popular thing.
So, we kind of moved to probably the more recognized guy, I guess, of that particular event was Charlie Palkin.
Yeah, Charlie Palkin, he was inducted, Gravedigger driver as of now, but started way back in the day as Excalibur. He had some neighbors that were, developing that truck, and, he'd be on his, paper route, and he'd be passing by and checking it out as they were building that truck, and that's kind of how he got his foot in the door, and then started driving the Excalibur machine, and then working his way up through the years, and now a highly successful Gravedigger driver.
Yeah, I mean, and he's kind of like we talked about Jerry earlier. He's kind of been through every stage of truck there is, but like you said, Excalibur. That they made a few generations, and then moving into the Gravedigger stuff.
Right.
Obviously, who's
people in the sport that have really withstood the test of time, and been along since day one, pretty much.
And he's one of them, obviously.
Yeah.
So he's kind of got a favorite dance here. He's got his Chucky dance.
Yeah, he's got his Chucky dance. The fans, and he was, everybody there was lucky enough to get the Chucky dance when he was inducted. So.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure
all fun and games, but
I'm sure they called him in on that, right? So each year they kind of bring in some real one-to-one trucks, I guess you'd say. They roll in some of the trucks there into the Hall of Fame. What do we have there on hand?
Yeah, throughout the year, and people will acquire some of these older machines and they'll want to restore them. We had Travis Howard. He showed up with the X-Side Excalibur truck, and then Rich Cummings brought his 3-wheeler Super Trike. Has like rear Terra tires on the back of it, and then like a 48-inch tire in the front. And a supercharged V8 engine. A real crazy looking machine.
So he gets on that thing like a 3-wheeler, right?
Yeah, pretty much like a regular 3-wheeler. It's just 8 foot taller.
Yeah. So he's, I mean, this is, I mean, if you've never seen a picture of this thing before, it looks like a gigantic three-wheeler.
Yeah,
basically.
that's what it is.
And you know, must have been from the '80s because that's when three-wheelers were popular.
Right, more of like a halftime show entertainment machine.
Yeah, it does really easy wheelies, right? Because obviously it's light in the front, but he sits on top and has a little like handlebars.
Right. Yeah. When you have a blown alcohol motor under you too, it's gonna.
It's gonna wheelie. So we got the American Scout.
Yeah, the American Scout was one of the little mini monsters there. You know, Colton Kaiser. He had that machine out there, and yeah, it's kind of neat to kind of see the different brands that the monster trucks development. You know, the little mini monster type go kart. I mean, it's not really a go kart. I mean, it's 8 foot tall in itself, but you know, it's kind of neat to see what monster trucks have done for certain areas of the industry.
You know, also on display before we talk about the RC program, we had Jack Willman with Taurus. He's obviously one of the famous guys back in that 80s, early 90s generation with the Taurus trucks. He had a great display there.
Yeah, he had a great display. You know, every year you get the the RC super fans or any sort of monster truck super fan there. You know, they'll bring out they have tables set up and you can bring in memorabilia or things from the past on display. You know, Jackie Willman brought a very impressive awards display from the early 90s. You know, his trophy from the Camel Mud and Monster series, and a lot of medallions that he had won, and some big paychecks too. You know, the 4 foot long cardboard paychecks they'd show.
The big checks, yeah. So I mean, I looking at some of the photos there, you could see they were made out to either Jack or Jackie Willman, which is his son.
Right.
They took turns driving, and I believe their nephew drove later.
Right.
Drove the truck also, but. These big checks, I mean, $5,000, $1,000, I saw on the checks. This was part of the Camel Monster Tour?
Right.
So this was in the early 90s. Camel was obviously the cigarette company, right? They did a sponsorship where they were awarding these guys when they were winning these events. So you could go in and you're racing for money, right?
Right, yeah, part of the USHRA program back in the day.
So in those days with Taurus, you had the Taurus, you had Equalizer, Barefoot, the Bigfoots, the Gravediggers, Carolina Crusher. They were all racing each other then for the Camel money,
all
right?
the big names in there, wanting to win that purse money. He even had a check there. It was up to $25,000. So it would have been a nice one to take home to the family.
Yeah, I mean, getting that $25,000 one, I guess that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, nice display. I've never really seen that type of stuff before. You've seen it on TV or a picture or something, but it's neat that somebody held on to all that stuff over the years.
Yeah, especially if you're a fan of monster trucks. Again, you'd see it on TV. It's the only access we kind of had back then, and then to actually go and actually see these things in person, it's really, really cool.
So we're, another reason obviously we go to this event is they have an RC event there for the RC monster trucks. Air Crush does a little setup there of the RC program, and tell us how things were looking there and set up for the monster truck program.
Yeah, every year they come up there. They'll try and stay towards the retro style monster truck, to pay homage to the guys, getting inducted into the museum. A lot of jumps, a little technical type tracks. And he does a really good job. Lays out the carpet, makes a course. Has the Crush cars, scale looking, all painted up. Nice and junky for the trucks to run over.
Yeah. And we mentioned here we got Jeff Cook, who puts on the actual Hall of Fame. He's been a big part of that. He had a couple custom things there.
Yeah, Jeff Cook, he's also a fan of RC. So it's kind of nice to see those guys. And, in the paint and body business he has access to fiberglass and things like that. And he's actually developed some nice fiberglass ramps and freestyle jumps that actually look scale. They dumped about $700 into the setup, but it's really cool, and I think it would be people have been awaiting something like that. You want the scale look of the ramps to the truck. I mean, when you're photographing it, it actually looks real.
Yeah. So he had these things out there, and guys were doing some freestyle tricks and stuff.
Yeah, aside from the retro class track, he kind of set up a fun track for people. If they brought their truck along and just wanted to drive it. Guys are launching it, getting big air off of those things. Really cool.
The last couple of years, we've been doing the Best of Show award to the RC monster truck guys there. What'd you see there, and what were you a part of that?
Yeah, real. These guys, their attention to detail is just amazing. The guys doing the super job making that stuff. This year we had Jamie Grund. He took the JConcepts award for the best of show.
Which I believe he won the year before, too.
And he won the year before with the Hercules truck. We kind of discount, once you win with one truck, that one's kind of out of the mix. So, he brings another one this year. And it was the King Crunch that took the win.
Good. Go into the project you did there as an RC monster truck project, and kind of what happened there.
Yeah, 2015, we went up for the Hall of Fame, and we caught up with our good friend Gene Patterson. And then just after the event, we get a box in the mail, and I get a phone call from Gene. He's like, I've had this truck for many, many years. Tim Powers.
1992, right?
Yeah, 92, and then the fellow RC racer Tim Powers kind of developed a monster truck chassis back then. It was on this particular truck, and he had all the old batteries and the old controller, and it was kind of needed an updating. So just coming to you and me, just clean this thing up. That just doesn't fly with us.
Yeah.
We're not just in the clean it up mode.
Yeah. I mean, when you get these projects, it's like it's almost like a horrible feeling, because it's like, man, what are you gonna do with these vehicles? When something's either old or ruined, or it just needs a lot of work. It's not like let's just throw some WD-40 on this thing and call it a day. So we didn't really start from scratch, but we really kind of did some updating.
Yeah, we did some updating. The chassis, the Powers chassis was in really good condition. The gearboxes were all intact, and then we just went from there. We went from the early '80s electronics in the thing, and then brought it up to the 21st century.
Yeah, when we were pulling the electrical out, I mean, they had a speed control like this big, maybe.
Yeah, 3x3 inch wide speed control on the thing,
and wires everywhere and long antennas and stuff that we just don't use anymore.
Right.
We've been able to simplify it over time. We went with a new speed control from Tekin. Randy Pike was nice enough to hook us up with a nice little tiny Tekin speed control. I bet you the thing's like this big.
Yeah.
We got some motors for it. We got a new radio from Airtronics, Sanwa.
Yeah, the Sanwa radio.
Got the Sanwa MT4 radio, which, I mean, that thing has all the adjustments you need, and a nice little package. 2.4 gigahertz, so no antennas.
Right.
We did some new servos. We got some new, I believe we got XP servos in there.
XP servos, a super servo.
Yeah, from Team Associated, got some XP servos in there, and worked really good in that truck.
Yeah, and then the project, I mean, it's just not just cleaning it up. It's not an hour process. We were working on a lot of projects here for the monster trucks. We were kind of running out of time, and then I had approached you. I'm like, maybe you can give me a hand with this thing. So you jumped in, you made some special steering mounting parts. Maybe you can tell everybody about that.
Yeah, we just wanted to clean up the steering a little. Basically, it was the way it was sitting with these, red bumpers and spacers, and from the old
Aileron rods and all kinds of
linkage. So we just like, we want this thing to be a little more color matching, move the servos. So we did kind of what we did here on my Clodbuster, remove the servos on the axle itself. Made them so they're a little more direct, and kind of cleaned it up, and they're all kind of one color now, and really just kind of look a little better for the rest of the truck.
Right. And then we went ahead and put our Firestorm tires on it, the Tribute wheels. They came out really, really well. I did the wiring in it, and then we went back to Oklahoma, and then I did the body for them. Bigfoot 10 with our '93 Ford.
Yeah, obviously Gene was a driver in those days. He was. Probably, maybe best known as the snake bite driver, Colt Cobra, but at the end of the day, he was a Bigfoot driver, running the Bigfoot trucks. He's ran in all of them, 6, 4, 10, 9. He's run on all those trucks, and you kind of modeled this one after 10, right?
Yeah, more after 10. A popular truck. He had a lot of success with that machine, so it was kind of neat.
So, we brought this truck to the event. Like you said, equipped with all this stuff, cleaned up, just kind of looked nice, and you did a little presentation there for Gene.
Yeah, did a little presentation. You never know when the Colt Cobra or Gene's going to come sneaking around. So on my way out there, we kind of stopped by foot and got Bob to personalize an autograph on the thing. That way, nobody's seen us at the event, but we had it tucked away. And then Jeff Cook was nice enough to, set aside some time for us to do a little presentation. And it was nice to have, Gene get his machine back, do the unveil, and present it to him at the Hall of Fame.
I have a good friend here. I like to call him up. 2015 inductee, Gene Patterson. Come on up. As you know, Gene, a driver for Bigfoot for many years, highly involved still, does a lot for the community, and is into RC cars as well. So,
what did I do to get this?
What did I...
Guys like Fred and Jason, this is off the top. These guys hit it best when they said they never thought, who would ever think we'd have this? I mean, when these guys were building trucks, when everybody out there was building trucks, and they kept saying you guys were fools, what are you doing this for? This is what you're doing it for, right here. This is the ice cream.
Another thing too with that, and I want to thank Bob Chandler and all the true originators of the sport. I mean, you've created a monster, really. And he's already dipping in the box here. About a year ago, Gene came to me and he's like, I have my old RC truck, I'd like to run it again. Just clean it up for me. Well, that's kind of the wrong thing to say to Jason and I. And, well, as he's looking it over, it got a full... I think the only thing original on it now is a chassis. We went and the owner himself of JConcepts, Jason Rona, went in, did some new engineering of the steering for it. I did the body, tires and wheels, and rewired it for you. It's all new electronics. We brought it from 1989 technology to 2016, back to the 21st century, and that's all yours, all new controller, LiPo batteries, and thank you for what you did for the sport of monster trucks. Thanks again.
He's right. This truck sat in my basement, and we became friends. And after Jason talked to my wife Susan, said I used to call Bigfoot and bug him all the time. I said, Tim Powers built this, started it off when I got into RCs, and they just sat on a shelf. And I said, I want you to clean this up. If this is what you do when you clean stuff up, anybody that's into RC cars better visit that tent, because this thing is freaking off the chart. Thank you so much. Words are escaping me right now. I'm in shock. This is fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a nice thing, him spending all that time with those guys for so many years, and now he's kind of got his truck back looking fresh and kind of how he drove it.
Right. Yeah, and it's great. Now we can actually go out and have fun with it again.
That kind of, gets us through a little bit of, the Hall of Fame. You made a trip back, 1,100 miles?
Yeah, 1,100 mile run back to Florida.
So, before we can turn the calendar over, we got another Trigger King event happening. You're going to be out there. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on, or is this a special event, or is this something like normal?
It's kind of in their series. We're going to go up there. I don't know if we're going to have a lot of product or just more of a display type thing, and get together with the guys. But December 4th we'll be up in Missouri. I'll have a full JConcepts tent set up. Expect nonetheless we'll be out there with our stuff all nice and shiny. We're gonna, maybe debut some new shapeways and stuff that we've been working on, and see how it's, received by the fans.
So, before we talk about basically the 2017 event, we're gonna go into. We've had a lot of interest in. We got this Stampede 4x4 and Slash 4x4 trucks. Basically, kind of a thing that you wanted to do is you wanted to take these two trucks by Traxxas and turn them into monster trucks. They've been in pretty much all of our photos and displays out there. We got 3 of them sitting here on the table. 2 of them are the Stampede 4x4s. One's a Slash 4x4.
Right.
But what we wanted to do here is, what we've done is we've created our own parts to convert these to RC monster trucks. Instead of it being a slash 4x4 or stampede 4x4, what you get is we're creating our own front caster block assembly. We have our own front and rear shock tower, and then combined with the standoff on top, you can use the current shocks that come on the vehicle, and then includes using our wheels and tires, it becomes a monster truck.
Yeah, it becomes a monster truck. It's going to be a real easy conversion for everybody to get into. We've had much success with the scalpel conversion. We did, that was more of an on-road type. And, seeing that thing every day sitting on the shelf, I'm like, wow, that'd make a really nice monster truck. So we went ahead and did it.
Yeah. So, something to look forward to, I think in, early 2017 for us is going to be these conversion components to basically take really popular Traxxas 4x4 trucks and turn them into monster trucks.
Yeah, it's really a good platform. I mean, it's really easy to make the conversion on it. It's a real easy truck to work on. There's a lot of them out there in the world, so a lot of them that may be on the shelf from short course racing. This is an opportunity now to, make an affordable, nice conversion, and get into a new class of RC monster truck.
So part of what's going to happen here is, anyone that has one of these trucks, new or used, they could get our bodies, our wheels and tires, and they can pretty much rejuvenate an old vehicle that they've used before, and all of a sudden now it's all newly purposed.
Yeah, new purpose. One of the things that we did was we needed some more droop in the front end of the truck. So we went in and redesigned a front shock tower on it, so now you can actually use the rear shocks in the front. So now the truck will be able to really soak up a lot of the big major, the big air jumps. And then, that was one of the things that helped that truck succeed in freestyle. You were able to launch the truck, it was able to land and recover, having that extra suspension travel in it.
Yeah, essentially if you have the independent suspension, it's a much easier truck to drive, a little better handling.
A little better handling, and we kind of grossly overpowered it. We got some Tekin, providing the horsepower for it. The Pro 4 mod motor that's in it, an RX 8-speed control. We ran a Reedy 2S battery in it, and MIP was nice enough to outfit the drive axles for it. And it's a pretty mean hombre.
So, kind of before we touch on the other thing, I kind of wanted to, recap that is, all these trucks that we built here, not only we're using a lot of JConcepts parts, but we've had a lot of support from, our contacts in the industry, Team Associated, Reedy. We got the power supplied in the Warpath there by Trevor Adamo. We've had Stick It One Graphics helping us a lot with our decals and our different things that we needed to build these trucks and make them look like the real deal. We had Dark Side Designs and Larry Genova at Custom RC Graphics. One way or another, all these guys are helping us paint bodies along with yourself.
Yeah, everybody's getting together on it, and it's really neat. Everybody's in the racing business, whether it be off-road, on-road, so on and so forth. Everybody's kind of a fan of monster trucks, and everybody's kind of wanting to see each other succeed in it, and it's really good to see.
Like you said, we got Randy Pike helping with Tekin, supplying some big power for the Slash and the Stampede 4x4s.
Right.
And obviously in that Gene Patterson Powers truck too.
Yeah, it works. I mean, you're running the two motors, the 17 turns in Gene's truck, so we'll be able to run the 17 turn class with that thing, and Tekin providing the power, and it's working really well.
Yeah, I just kind of look around. I mean, MIP, they've been on board since we started these truck projects, providing the axles and the CVDs and things that really kind of, they've beefed up some of the trucks for us, helped us out.
Yeah, right. We did some very aggressive testing. Again, I've said it before in other videos, before anything goes out in the public, we very aggressively test the stuff. We want to make sure it works for the people. And then, just trying the thing. The stock stuff works. It'll get you going, but you're going to want to make those upgrades. And, we always take our stuff to the next level. We try and bulletproof everything, before it goes out on the racetrack. The axles, we needed that upgrade, and then MIP was able to help us out with that.
And we wanted to, thank even the guys involved with the Overkill trucks, Kirk Dabney, Marty Garza, all these guys, they've, throughout the years, they've helped us get some photos, some images to help recreate some of these things, right?
Yeah, it makes it that much more special. When you bring them to an event and it looks like the real deal, people get excited.
Mm-hmm. Along with the Bigfoot crew there, we've stopped by like you mentioned, and got the sign off from Bob Chandler on several ones that look good and look authentic.
Yeah, it's great. The guys in the industry, the back in the RC guys, they want to see their name out there as well. It's a highly successful thing.
So going into 2017 here, we got a couple event dates already that are kind of booked, stuff that you've been to before. We got April 8th, 2017, which is the Showtime RC Motorsports, their Solid Axle Showdown.
Yeah, we'll be back at the Solid Axle Showdown up there in Virginia. We went the first year. They had a super turnout up there, kind of helped them along with their event. It was a great turnout, over 100 drivers there. And it's looking to turn some more entries this year.
And obviously we got the NRCTPA, that's already booked. We got the Spring Nationals for April 28th and 30th.
Yeah, April 28th through the 30th. I'll be there for my birthday, so don't forget the birthday cake.
Yeah. Bring some food and some gifts.
Yeah.
And, well, that kind of, brings us up to speed here on our little world tour trip for monster trucks. And obviously, if there's any, concerns and anything anybody has, any questions about monster trucks, feel free to email us. Contact us on social media or something.
Yeah.
We appreciate Fred going out there doing his 4,800 mile trip and bringing us some action. And we appreciate everybody for staying tuned here with JConcepts. Of course, JConcepts.net. We got the blog. We got YouTube, JConcepts Live, JConcepts Racing. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can usually find us on JConcepts Incorporated. So anyway, thanks to Fred once again, and we'll see you guys next time.